Hi, and welcome back to Mr. Allred's 2 Minutes On. Today we're going to focus on imports and exports. So an import is goods that are bought by UK citizens from foreign countries, and there's three main reasons why we do that. One is goods that we simply can't produce in the UK, olives, bananas. These are products that we can't produce here due to our climate, so therefore we're forced to go abroad to buy them. Goods which are labour intensive, meaning that they have lots and lots of people involved with producing them. With a national minimum wage, that can be really expensive for businesses, and then they tend to pass that on as an increased price to consumers. Well, if we go abroad for that product, then we don't have that issue. We can usually get that product for much cheaper than we can produce it ourselves. Finally, it's basically down to consumer taste. You know, in 2016, in the first 6 months of that, 86% of UK car sales were imports. Now, this means there is a market for domestically produced products, but obviously most people prefer that imported product over the imports. Exports then are the opposite of that. These are UK produced products that are sold in foreign countries. Now, to be a good exporter, you really need to do three things, and one of those is you need to keep the price down as much as possible. I mean, that's hard, like I said, with those labour laws that we have, but to keep that price as competitive as possible. You need to significantly differentiate. One of the things that does that is by being British made. That does have some positive connotation with the rest of the world, not as much as it used to, but there is still some positive elements associated with that enables you to differentiate your products. And more than that, you need to provide good value of service. You need to hit delivery times. You need to make sure that you can do what the consumer abroad is asking you to do. Go ahead and pause the video now, and I want you to come up with a list of imports versus a list of exports, and we're going to look at comparing those. So if we look at them, you'll most likely see that your list of imports is much bigger than your list of exports for the UK. Now, that's possibly because you don't know all the things that the UK exports, but chances are it's because actually we import a lot more than we export as a nation. Now, this could be bad for some economies because that import is essentially a leaking of money out of the UK economy. That's money that we earn that we're then spending in another economy. An export is the complete opposite. It's an injection into the economy. It's money that's coming from abroad being injected into our economy, into our businesses. So sometimes governments have to look at the levels of those and look at managing that. And one of the ways they do that is through a concept called protectionism. And this is really shielding domestic businesses from foreign competition, because we know often that, like we said, it's cheaper to produce abroad, so we have to look at how we shield our businesses to enable them to be competitive. There's three ways we do that. The first one being a tariff. A tariff is essentially a tax. It's a tax on that import that increases the price of it for consumers. That means that importing business can't really exploit fully their lower costs of production, their lower labour, their lower price for resources. That really means that their prices are on par with that of the domestic business. Quotas is simply a limit on how many products we can bring into the UK. What that does means, through the rules of supply and demand, if there's less products, their products are scarce, we tend to see a higher price for that product. Well, that means, again, the price for those products tend to be similar in compared to those domestic products. The final one is legislation or laws. We're still a member of the EU currently, and what that actually means is we are bound to a set of rules and set of laws that products must adhere to, and based on health and safety and based on quality. But if I'm a producer from outside of the EU, I have to hit that same standard. And if I don't hit that same standard, I can't sell my product in those 27 member states. So what I need to do is hit that standard, and that again raises the cost of my production, and again would put us on the same sort of parity level in terms of domestic producers. Now, the big problem with these measures is, whilst yes, it corrects and starts to protect my own businesses, consumers are worse off, because consumers start to pay more and more for a product that they could, in theory, get cheaper without tariffs and things in place. They could, in theory, have that product at a much cheaper level, and therefore it's consumers who take most of the burden of those protectionist measures. If you think about products that we don't produce domestically, such as a smartphone, well, that really could start to pay negative for us consumers. If we start to have tariffs and things like on an iPhone, the price of that product will go up, and yet we would not be able to afford it or have a cheaper alternative of domestic products. That really could impact consumers in the long run. So this was Mr. Allred's 2 minutes on imports and exports. It's a little bit longer than that, it's 5 minutes. but hopefully that's given you some interesting information to go from. If you like this video, please like and share it, and please subscribe for more videos. Thank you.